Hey there, it's Tim from EminiMind. It's been a pretty good week of trading, and I wanted to show you my trades, so let's jump right into it. This 50% that you see on the ES here, that's actually the daily we're retesting. So I wanted to run through today's Thursday. Let's go backwards. We'll go through today's trades, yesterday, yada yada, throughout the week. Um, so we gapped up this morning. We're up at the daily 50% short. I'll show you how that played into one of my trades this morning. Um, the bigger picture, has this 50% long with a target up at 40.23. So if we close above, really this was the highest close here on the 28th. So if we close up at 39.1650 or above that, that's going to be pretty bullish to take us up to the negative 23% target. But as we opened today, we had the gap up, like I said. Um, I actually thought we were going to come down and fill the gap right off the open, but we ended up going higher. The 15-minute, I guess we'll start there. 15-minute breakout moved to the upside, and if my charts load here, there we go. 15-minute broke to the upside, and with depending on how you trailed your stop, it did end up going 20 points, but the first push up came just a tick away from that 20-point mark. So if you put your stop on the opposite end of the candle, like down here, or even the midpoint of the candle, by the time we broke out, we did get a pretty strong push initially. And if you just left your 20-point target there and just kind of walked away, it got you filled a couple of candles later. If you brought your stop up underneath put your stop below the low of the 15-minute candle, then they'd take you out for a small winner, but a winner nonetheless. So we're kind of knocking our head right at the 50% on the daily, like I said. So when we come into the intraday chart here, there was actually a short that lined up right at the top of the first 30-minute range. I'll get rid of all this and we'll redraw it. And the top of the 30-minute range, like we talked about a couple videos ago, very, very helpful for determining where some good trades are likely to be. So this was the morning. We had the gap up, and if I back up my tick chart, I'll mark the top of the 30-minute range. That was right here. So first 30 minutes had a little bit of a sell-off, and then we ripped right from the get-go. Our breadth and advanced decline line were strong at the open. They weren't as strong as they are now. And if we go to that 30-minute high, that was right here. And so notice how we were moving up. We broke through the 30-minute high. Now this little pullback here didn't break the prior swing low, so that means there was no short opportunity here. That short, that 50%, does line up with the top of the 30-minute range, but because we didn't break the swing low, I chose not to take a short there. But after we rallied up here, we kind of made a little double top, only one candle in between the two highs. But the more important thing is we broke the 61.8 and we broke the swing low. So when we turn around and draw a short, it looked like this. And look where that 50% takes us, right at the top of the 30-minute range. And so this one was right at that 2-point kind of limit where the 50 and the 61.8 is within 2 points, but it lined up so cleanly, and we were at that daily 50% as well here that I went ahead and took it. Got a quick initial move, and then because this low point, the anchor, was fairly far away from the 50%, this was a little bit bigger drawing for a 512. I came in and drew the next retracement like this. Once we made this little pop, we sold off and broke the swing low here. I drew up the next retracement in the trend, even though we didn't make it to the negative 23 yet. But I chose to do that, and then I just put my stop up above this little candle here, above the high here at 1250. I put my stop up there, giving it a little bit of room outside the 61.8. So ended up with the first target and then another 3/4 of a point on that trade. And then we ended up turning around and going a little bit, well, first we went a little bit higher, but then we ended up going lower and came right to the halfway back of the day. So at this point, okay, anytime we trade at the halfway back of the day, that's another spot that I want to look for trade setups. And we actually did get a nice bounce and pullback, but it did not pull back all the way to the 50% exactly. Notice how this little pullback here also didn't make it to its 50%. But when we came up here, we broke the opposing from high to low, like so. And so one thing you can do, if the market doesn't pull all the way back to the 50% and you want to get in the direction, so you want to get long, but it didn't get you filled at the 50%, if you flip to the 1-minute chart, and if you look for a hammer in case of a long, inverted hammer in the case of a short, a hammer right off of that 50%, see how the tail didn't quite touch it? That's corresponding right here. You can get long just one tick above the high of that low bar. So right here at 825. Yes, it's higher than the 50% itself, but if you're in the trade at a higher price and it ends up being a winner, that's still a lot better than not being in the trade at all. So this one, I went ahead with an 8.25, and then same thing with as with the opening range breakout. You're just putting your stop one tick below the candle, so down here, and then just trailing each candle as we go up. So this one ended up going for like 7.5, I think it was, 8.25, and then ended up getting taken out right under here at 15.25. So a nice little, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minute, because these are 1-minute candles, 7-minute trade, and that brought us back up above the 30-minute high, and then we retested, and then at that point still didn't quite make it to the next 50% retracement. So you can look at that 1-minute hammer again and say, okay, well, we came down, we got some support off the 30-minute high. 30-minute high is a place I like to look for trades. Same with the 30-minute low and the halfway back of the day. We didn't quite make it to the 50%, but here again we have this hammer. So just placing my stop or my entry one tick above, my stop one tick below, and then just trailing again on the way up. This one didn't move quite as much as the one before it, but still ends up with a winning trade. So those are a couple of trades from today. It's still kind of early, but I typically wrap things up after about 90 minutes. So market moving up here. I'll go back to that daily fib and the resistance that we did have starting to break from these earlier highs from the morning. So at this point, moving above the 61.8 on the daily, 40.12.25 is really what I'm going to watch for. The gaps that we have are nowhere near us to the upside, so pretty much all clear to move higher. This was the last swing high that was before the low point, so this was our lowest low. Here's the swing high before it. That is well broken, and this is the first halfway back long on the upside down here at 37.13.25. That's where we did a little bit of a addition from profits from the puts on the way down, and then turning around and buying at the halfway back long. Okay, so that was today. Let's go to yesterday. Yesterday ended up with, well, we did have a break of the first 15-minute, and that just kind of petered out. This was the low, and that ended up just being a little stop out. The market moved pretty much within the first 30-minute range for most of the morning, and I ended up only with one trade, but it was a crossover. If I can get the 30-minute range marked here. So that was the 30-minute range. We poked just below at the open, and then just above a little bit later, poked down just below. And so the entire morning session was mostly within that first 30-minute range. But if we drill down to the 5-minute, you can see the first halfway back of the day was a short. I mean, if we want to get really in the first 15 minutes, you have these first two candles, but outside of the first 15 minutes, taking the first swing high down to the swing low was a short. And if some of this stuff is a little bit foreign to you, that's okay. It does take time to practice. I mean, I've got 15 years of experience doing this, so the more you watch the videos, the more you practice on your charts, looking at the markets, it will get a lot easier. I'm actually doing a master class in December, so just a couple of weeks from now. If you want to, kind of get all the ins and outs laid out for you, just shoot me an email and I can get you the link for that. Or if you go over to EminiMind, I've got the link on the bottom of the homepage for the master class. So this was the halfway back of the day. There was no major reaction there. We came up to the 50%, got a little bit of a pullback, and see how we bounced again. This is the bottom of the 30-minute range. Look at from the low. This would be what I would call a micro setup, a small setup on the 512. That 50% lines up with the bottom of the 30-minute range. I actually chose not to take that one. We didn't have a low tick, but more importantly, because we came off lows and we paused at the 50% short. So I said we didn't have any kind of a reaction. I mean, we had a small sell-off at the 50% of the day, and rather than try and jump in short right there, saying, well, we sold off from that 50%, let me take this next short. Notice how we have a couple of things that is why a couple reasons why you don't want to take this as a short. Number one, we have the opposing long. So you say, well, I think the market's going to go down. I want to take this as a short, 35.05. Rather than just take it outright, we want to let the market trade at the 50% and then come over to the 512 tick chart, which is the chart on the right, and take it there. But we stopped right at the long. We stopped right at the opposing 30-minute, and we did not break the swing low. So those are three reasons not to take this as a short. Instead, if we would have come down and broke this 61.8 and then traded a little bit lower, I'd be okay taking a short, maybe something like that. You don't want it to be an exact double bottom where you're taking the short, but maybe somewhere in that vicinity. That didn't end up happening. We ended up rallying and breaking through the halfway back short. And so at that point, I drew the next long in the series here. So this is the first one from lows up to here. We pulled back. I drew the next one in the series. It happened to cross over or cross through this halfway back short. And so 38.04.50 was the long entry there. And then from there, what I do is draw the next retracement in the trend like this. That's where I move my stop first. So 650, 38.0650. And then from there, I just start trailing the swing lows as we make new highs. So trail the swing low here, and then trail the swing. That's actually where I got taken out right up here. Kind of came down and broke it just briefly, but it was enough to kick me out. So that one ended up being the first target plus another 13 points. So that was a nice, actually pretty decent runner for what kind of looks like a smaller range on the chart, but actually was a pretty decent size range. Another trade, before I do that, another trade I wanted to highlight that I actually did not take was then up at the top of the range. Let's see if I can find it here. Was a high tick of the day. Oh, I'm not going to be able to find it now. Let's see here. Oh, this one here. Let's see. I had that 30-minute high mismarked. I apologize. Should have been back here. That's why it was throwing me off. Okay, so 30-minute high is actually back here. I misdrew it. The trade I wanted to highlight that I did not take was actually a short here. And it was we had a high tick of the day. Let's see. Go through my notes. Yeah, it had a high tick of the day, but see how we came down and this is the top of the 30-minute range right here? And so, yeah, we broke the swing low and we broke the 61.8, but that 30-minute high is then going to act as support. What you really want is for that short to come down and be more like that. So the 50%. So you actually want to come in below the 30-minute range and then rally back up to the 30-minute high. So sorry for that incorrect drawing right there, but that's why when the 30-minute range, the high and low are, when you're trading near those levels, they're really important to watch. You want to be looking for trades at those levels. So yesterday's trades, or Tuesday rather, you can find in the, we do the live trading session on Tuesday, so those are all recorded. And then I didn't have anything on, let's see, Monday. Oh, no, I did have a couple trades on Monday. And let's go through those real quick. So Monday ended up being two trades that ended up for a wash, and then we had a bigger winner later in the morning. So let's go back here. Monday was the 7th. Rip through these. So the first one ended up being right after the first 15 minutes, and that looks like that. This one ended up this one. This is where it was. So here's the halfway back, larger halfway back drawn on the 5-minute chart to the left. I drew up the opposing. So looking to go short, but I want to make sure we don't stop at the long. We did briefly, and then we came down and broke the 61.8. So then from there, turning it around, drawing up the short like that. And then this one sold off, went to the negative 23. I actually ended up tightening my stop on this double bottom here, right there. I tightened my stop and I got taken out. So that one ended up, so like I drew the next retracement like that because we double bottomed. And so I got taken out for that. So that one ended up being a first point, 3-point first target on the first half, and then another 1.25 on the second half. So I kind of missed the couple of points on the drop there. The next one was actually a crossover trade, and that was 36 minutes in. So I drew the high to low like that, and see how the swing low is below the 50%. So the 50% is a short. 50% of the day is a short. I actually took this as a long, like that, and I got stopped out. So those first two trades kind of were a wash. I guess a little bit ahead, but basically scratch. And then the third, excuse me, third one, 819, high tick, strong rejection, double top, short. Okay, so that one was here. Oh yeah, this one was nice. This was again, the top of the first 30-minute range. Coming into play again. See how we just poked above it and then we fell back down into it. Price was rejected there. We did have a high tick at highs, and when I say that, I mean on the nicey tick. And then we traded in this beautiful short right there. That one ended up going really quickly. Got a first target for 3 points, and then got 10 points on the second half of the position just by trailing the swing highs on the way down. Ended up here was my last swing high movement, and then I got taken out over here, and then we just kind of went sideways and then turned back up. So that was a nice one to kind of close out the morning. And again, if this is a little bit foreign to you, keep practicing, keep drawing up the retracements. You can go back and watch these other trade recap videos and look at past weeks. And if you're interested in sitting down with the live masterclass, then we'll go through all of this kind of from the beginning, the basics, all the way to the advanced stuff. So that was my week so far this week. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. I hope everyone has a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you all soon.